Welcome into another edition of the Holton Naylor Show. On this podcast, we're going to preview the Army game, but we're also going to review the BYU game. Caiden, let's get right into it. Initial thoughts from the BYU game.
Well, it's our first show after a loss, hopefully the only loss this year. But I think
that was our second loss. We lost the state as well.
I watched that game. It felt like a win.
What were you saying, though?
First home loss. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was a tough game. It really was. And I think a lot of it was, I thought our defense played really great. I thought they played really good football. I thought they came out, played physical. I mean, that first half was great. But they looked good. It should have been 6-3 halftime score. I think the problem was the offense. And I think we all agree it was the offense. I think the offense has been a problem all year. From the state game, I think we come out swinging against NC State like we did at the end of the year last year. We beat NC State. I think if we just threw the ball downfield a little bit more against BYU, I think we win the game. I think the biggest inconsistency is around play calling and not being able to run the ball. They're the two things that hurt us the most this year. And then second is BYU put their freshman quarterback in so many good situations. As a freshman in a hostile environment, they made sure that the game plan didn't get too big for him, where our offense, I don't know where the game plan was. They put Hauser in some bad situations. I know Blake Harrell said the RPO going into halftime was an RPO, but guess what? You put him in that situation to pull that ball. So I think the game really turned out to defense played great. We put our players in worse situations, and BYU put their players in.
Yeah, I think the frustration with the offense, and look, we're 4 games into this. We're just starting conference play with Army, which we're about to preview here in a second. I think the frustration is we've seen how explosive the offense can be, how good Caiden Hauser can be, how good of play calling JDB can have. And then we've also seen where you're watching and you're like, what is this? So, and I think we've seen it's literally comes in halves, dude. It comes like it comes in halves of games. First half of NC State, you go out there and you're like, okay, what is the offense? Like, are we not going to be as good as we thought? Second half, you go out there, you're explosive, you're throwing the ball deep. Caiden Hauser looks like probably the best quarterback in the American. You can scratch Campbell. I mean, we looked obviously great versus
you should
Campbell,
do that against Campbell.
And then the Coastal game. I mean, we won 38-0, and we both left that game and watching it and saying we don't feel like we just won that game 38-0. It was 10-0, really the second half. And then obviously we turned it up and we started calling better plays and we started scoring. And then the explosive, you hit on the explosive runs and just having a consistent run game is, statistically, if you look at it, it's not that it's kind of misleading because a lot of our explosive runs or running touchdowns have been either Campbell or fourth quarter of Coastal.
They've never been quality time.
Yeah, so that's where it's like, you've had we're 2-2. NC State's a really good team. BYU's a really good team. Or I'd say State's a good team, but BYU's probably a really good team.
Yeah.
One thing that you hit on that I would really like to hit on, though, is BYU put their quarterback in position to be successful and win the game. He came in, it was his first true road start. He was a true freshman in a hostile environment. I mean, look, the beginning of that game, I had chills. It was awesome.
I haven't seen a stadium like that in forever. Yeah, it was a great environment for that first half, really.
And we lost our voice screaming. It was awesome. It was a great environment. But then you look at it, and one I want to get to is the students leave. We're down 14 points. The students leave, but I'm going to backtrack that and say we are not doing anything offensively during that game. Mm-hmm. At a school like ECU, they'd rather go to the bar than watch a boring offense.
It was a boring game.
Yeah.
Offense was so boring.
And look, we stayed. I'm not saying the students were right in any means. I'm just saying we know how ECU is. We know how students are. They want to see. If that was a fun game, we were scoring, it was rolling, those students would have been there.
The game showed no life. I didn't want to say it because I'm never out, but as a fan, it felt like watching the offense that first half that we weren't going to have the offense the entire day to bounce back in that game. It felt like there was no chance on that. But want to go back just so people understand, kind of describe how BYU put their quarterback in such good situations.
Yeah, like you could tell he really threw, and even watching the film, me and Jack watched last week, and we talked about watching the film and where he was good placing the ball. He's good at placing the ball on the outside of the hashes. So the hashes, and then anything outside of that, he was really good. So a flood concept, which they ran a lot of, is a go ball, and then like a 12 to 15 yard out route with a flat route with a dig on the backside. So he's literally reading an area. If the DB goes with the go, he's probably going to throw the flood, and he threw that a lot. And you could tell on film that was his kind of sweet spot. That's where he felt comfortable. He wouldn't put the ball in danger. That was kind of his sweet spot. They did a lot of that, and I was surprised that we gave them a lot of that. Now, flood is a very common concept, and flood is also really hard to stop. That's why people run it.
They also had a running back check down on that.
They had running back check down, so you really read it across. It's a very, very good play. I ran it a ton when I was at ECU with Donnie, but they just put him in good situations. And then their other play that they ran a lot of was pin, which is post wheel with an in. They ran that a lot. They hit it for a touchdown. Teagan obviously got hit with a targeting call, which I didn't see. I was in the bathroom, of course, but they got hit with a touchdown when they ran a post and a wheel, and the wheel scored for a touchdown. And from what I was told was that ECU kind of knew that play was coming all week, and it's just one of those. We're on the side. We've been there and seen the scout team run a ton of plays during the sideline or during practice. They know it's coming, and then you're on the sideline. You're like, dang, that's the play that they talked about all week, and we still just gave up a touchdown.
Wide open. Holton, you hungry?
Always hungry. And you know where I eat when I'm hungry? Jersey Mike's. I love Jersey Mike's. I get the giant when I'm there. Look, they're hot subs, Caiden, to die for.
Guess what?
What?
They're cold subs
to die for. A sub above Jersey Mike's. Make sure you go visit one of their many Greenville locations. Support them and support the Holton Naylor Show.
I know the fan sentiment was pretty upset after the game. We did the fifth quarter, of course, and even our sentiment was pretty frustrated. And I think part of it is, the beginning of last year, we saw the inconsistencies with the offense, but we knew this year we have a lot of talent on that offense, especially throwing in the passing game. And the problem is we just can't get it alive. We can't get it alive. And I think people are more frustrated now more than last year. Last year, a lot of it was losing. This year, it's like we have the pieces. We have the defense. Why can't the offense or the play calling offense finally come together? I think that's why people are really upset this year versus we know we have a good football team. We know we have good players.
Yeah, and look, I still think we're a good football team. I think we'll win. We'll definitely make a bowl game. I think we'll win. I'm still sitting at the 8-win mark. I still believe that just in our conference. I think our conference is very winnable. But I go back to what I just said earlier. It comes from the frustration of seeing it and knowing that we can do it, and then going out there and looking like a completely different offense than what we've seen. So I think it's like, obviously we're fans now. We don't play anymore, but like seeing the capability and saying, holy cow, we have a chance to be a historically good East Carolina offense. And then there's like halves when we're like, dude, we can't get in the end zone worth anything. What are we trying to do? And I know it really goes back to like the core, even from the state game. We rushed for 30-something yards, I think 37 yards versus NC State. Like, have we rushed for more yards since then? Yes, we have. And I'm not saying running backs are the issue. I don't know. I haven't seen the film enough to know who the issue is or what the issue is. But you got to have explosive runs. Like, my years I was there, we had Keaton and Rajay. Like, you know how thankful I was to have a running game, and then running backs that would block too, and running backs do a lot of things, but having a running back that can score on any play or make an explosive play on any play takes so much pressure off the quarterback hands. And I think you're starting to see that with Caiden a little bit. I mean, he started to force, you talked about the RPO. Like, yes, if that was an RPO that he threw the pick six on, why are you running an RPO hitch
on the 1 yard line
with 99 yards to go? Like, I'd rather just throw it deep. We already talked about it on the fifth quarter. But it's putting pressure on him, and I know what that is like. I 100% know what it is like to not be exceeding expectations. Like, he had very high expectations, I'm sure, for himself.
Yeah.
We know him personally. The fan base had high expectations. The coaching staff did. Like, the receivers did. And not that he's underperforming at all. I don't think it's that. But you can feel when you don't have an explosive run game. Like, you can feel like if we're going to score, I got to either get the ball down to the 10-yard line and let the running back score, or I got to have an explosive pass play. And you feel that as a quarterback. And then once you start to feel that, you start to press a little bit more. You start to see an RPO and say, okay, this run's not going to get. We're backed up on the one. Yeah, we're backed up on the 1 yard line. Our run game hasn't done anything all year, really. No offense or anything. I'm not saying they haven't done anything, but nothing like explosive. But in a quarterback's mind, you're saying, okay, our running game hasn't had many explosive plays. What if we don't get this 1 yard? What if we get a safety? Okay, that hitch looks a little more open now. Let me throw pick six. Now it's flipping of the game.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And as a quarterback, that is the mental battle that you go through. And Caiden Hauser's going through it right now. Now the great ones, they get through it. And that's just every day of a quarterback. That even when you're having good games, that's going through your head. There's a gazillion things going through your head that the great ones figure out how to handle. And I think Caiden's going to be a great one historically at East Carolina. And not saying he's not handling it bad. I think he's handling it fine. He had his worst game versus a really great team, probably the best defense he's played. At the end of the day,
best
that's
defense
what
in the nation.
Yeah.
I guess question for you now is we've seen through a quarter of our games this year, four football games, that the run game isn't there. I think last game we had 3 big runs. We had a 30-some yard jet sweep. We had Caiden Hauser with a 9-yard run. We had Montgomery bust probably like a 15, 20-yarder. Yeah. And outside of that, it was nothing but small 1 or 2 yarders. Now we know the pass game. If we let Hauser drop back, he's pretty confident. The line protects pretty well. How would you game plan? Like we saw last game, we kept forcing the run. We kept trying to push the run, but there was nothing explosive about 3 run plays. How if you were an offense coordinator, how would you game plan this offense since we've seen the run game struggle so much? Do you keep pressing the run?
Versus Army? You're saying
versus anyone. Like we've seen 4 games, 4 different opponents, different calibers, and the run just doesn't work.
Yeah, I think each individual game plan wise is obviously different. For me, let's just start with Army. It's a short week. They're a good team.
Defense kind of sus this year.
Yeah, defense kind of sus. It's giving up a lot of points.
Yep.
I would start. I go back to empty a lot, and that's just me preference. If you have a quarterback who's mobile, I like to go empty a lot. And another reason to go empty versus Army is we're going to have better athletes than Army. We always should have better athletes in the academies because they can't recruit certain people. That is just how they
transfers.
Are. And no transfers. We should have better athletes. I promise you, our receivers will be better than their DBs athletic wise. Now, look, their DBs might be better. They've developed better. They've done that. That's a different story. But if you just said right when they got to college, who's the more athletic, who would go win in a one-on-one, it should be our receivers. Another reason of that is it spreads them out. I'm a big fan of when you have the better athletes to spread them out. I'm also a big fan of when you don't have the better athletes spread them out. And that's kind of what this offense does. That's why we can compete with anyone offensively. But I would just spread them out and try to, go some of those wide splits with the receivers, get the linebackers out of the box. The closer these receivers are, the more tight ends you have in the box. That's just adding another person in the box on defense to stop the run. If you want to run the football, let's go empty. Let's go, we call it deuce or ace or doubles, whatever you want to call it. 2x2 receivers. Get them wide. Get those linebackers. Make those linebackers declare if they want to play the pass or the run. My opinion, they're going to play the pass. Let them play the pass. That is when you get the run. If you have 5 in the box and you can't run the football, then you're just not a good football team.
And then bring the running back in sometimes when they go wide. Because I'm at the point where I as a fan now, I'm let's give up on this run game. I like what you said, to go 5 wide, make them stop the pass, bring the motions in with the running back. Maybe then you make them react. Because I look at Mike Leach's offense. Mike Leach's offense, if you go through the years, they're only rushing 1,000 yards, 1,200 yards a year. And you think about that, that's kind of the pace we're at right now. I think we have 380 some yards this year. That's Mike Leach offense rushing yards pace. And Mike Leach had top offenses every year he coached. And what did he do? He loved the pass game. And I'm we have a confident quarterback. We have an offense line that has a hell of a pass pro. Do we just move to adjust the offense that way?
Yeah, I don't think that's a dramatic of a change. I think it's kind of a double-sided question because I think yes, in a way you do, but you also can't. We have a mobile. Caiden Hauser's mobile. I think we need to use him more in the mobile pass game. One thing that has worked is a speed option for us, getting him out in space, letting him make decisions. We just need to be more creative in the run game. One thing about JDB that I really respect about him is when we are rolling, he is ultra creative in this pass game. He came from that Lane Kiffin where, you come up with all these new ideas and each week is a new passing concept or a new version of a passing concept. I think we need to do that in the run game. And look, they might be doing that. Like I said, we're not watching the film every day. But the more creative we get in the run game and the more, misleading and all of that, the more like that's how you create explosive plays, where there's trick plays, where there's misdirection, all of this. Like there is ways to not give up on the run game and still create a run game. Like we have capable backs. Everyone's seen them. London Montgomery looked good last year. Marlon Gunn has looked good his whole career. Like what? And then what's the other kid's name? I can't even think of his name. The Houston transfer. Like he looked good at Houston to where those guys are capable of doing it. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what exactly it is. I just think maybe we get more creative with it, create misdirection, trick play. I mean, anything you got. And then you also got a quarterback that runs a 4-3 on the sideline. Like if you got to create run game, let's create run game and do it. And I'm not saying bench Caiden. Absolutely not. I'm just saying like this. If we're having that much trouble with it, Mike Wright looked really good the Coastal game. I know it was Coastal, I know it was late, so it doesn't matter that much. But he did look good, and he's looked good in the Big Ten. He's looked good in the SEC.
He looked like a professional runner. I mean, you're seeing him move the way that guy. He runs different than your average person. Going to the Army game, though, if we just transfer our thoughts here, short week, Army played overtime. You kind of love that. They're coming here. I don't think. Again, it's hard to get a lot of fans out on a Thursday night game. I think we'll have a pretty decent environment. I mean, traveling on a short week, they get one less day of preparation. Where's your thoughts on this Army team so far?
I feel good about it. Our run defense is really, really good. Like we've already kind of touched on it. We haven't touched on it enough. I know we just talked about the offense and kind of what's going on there. Our thoughts on that. I think our defense is really, really good. I think they've performed extremely well. Our defensive line, it's going to be big for them. It's a huge matchup going in to a place or playing a team going into a Thursday night game on a short week versus a triple option team. Like all those cards are stacked against the defense, and they have every excuse in the world to go out there and not play great. But that I think is what they're going to use as motivation to go actually play great. And I think that is where having good leadership in Blake Harrell, who's been around the triple option, Josh Aldridge, and then some of these defensive guys who we know, Zion Wilson, Preston Card, Tegan Wilk, Sam Danka, like these guys have been there, done that, and understand it. To where they'll be ready to go. I think they will. I think it's just come down to the offense. Yeah,
my question for Army this year when we did the preseason show was the offense, losing their quarterback last year. Usually when those triple option teams lose a quarterback, the next year they're trying to figure out who their guy is going to be. And that Army team's played a lot of quarterbacks this year. But what they've done is they've scored a lot of points. Like their offense has actually done pretty well. They only have 4 returning starters from last year, but they're looking pretty good. It looks like every game they play, it's like we have to outscore our opponents. Where the defense, that's their biggest thing. I mean, they're having to outscore someone as Army. That's challenging as hell. So this is the game I actually like how the defense is played. All they have to do is play sound defense. Keep your assignment. Don't chase. Keep your eyes where they're supposed to be. And the offense just has to show up, really. Because I think we have the defense. I don't know if Army's played a defense this year that's as good as our defense. Tarleton State, they're 4-0 with their FCS. I think they have a pretty good team. Kansas State, I think they looked pretty bad. We can all agree on. And North Texas.
North Texas 4-0.
They're 4-0. I honestly think they're a big offense power team, though.
This podcast is brought to you by Anson Belts. Over 10,000 combinations of micro-adjustable holeless belts. Official belt of the East Carolina Pirates. Official belt of the Holton Naylor Show. Caiden, we love Anson Belt.
I love Anson Belt. It will fit you no matter what. If it's during your dieting season, you tighten it back up. Or if you're eating that warm, fall, cozy food, you can loosen it up. It will always fit you no matter the seasons or your weight.
The belt that loves you back. I just made that up, but that's kind of fire, Caiden. AnsonBelt.com.
So it's a game that I'm like, it's a game that I think we can tune up. Or we have the athletes for sure on the outside. We can tune up, build the confidence again. I'm not saying it's an easy game by any chance, but this is a game that I feel really confident our defense is going to show up. It's going to be on our offense. The offense, which we had we were high on all year, is now becoming our biggest question mark this year.
Yeah.
And it's concerning because I truly believe, like I said earlier, we have the talent to compete with every team in this conference. This game is really going to show how we're going to play in the conference play.
Yeah, I think,
and not defensively. I'm talking about offensively.
Yeah. And it's weird because like we're still so high on the offense. Like that's what's crazy. It's like we have the talent. I love the scheme of the offense. Like I was literally texting with Sneed and Blake Prohl during the game, saying like they were like, dude, could you imagine if we played this? I'm like, I know. And then like the fourth quarter, like, wait, what is the offense? Like, what's the identity? I think that's the problem. No, I wouldn't say problem. Like I said, you're 4 games in, you're not even in conference play. We can go rattle off a bunch and be top team in the conference. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I think once we start hitting the ground running and actually like getting momentum, we're going to be really, really good, just like last year. But I think the issue and kind of the scary part is like, what is our identity offensively? And if you walked in that locker room right now and said, what's our identity offensively? Like, what would the answer be? And that is something that we got to figure out to compete for a conference championship, which I think we have the talent to do. Back in the Army game, you're saying it's a tune-up game. When was the last time ECU played an academy that the game that we won handily?
Oh, it's been a long time. I wasn't calling it a tune-up game.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
So it's a short week.
I'm saying defense.
Yeah.
This is the most confident I've felt in the defense all year.
No.
Outside Campbell.
Yeah.
Like, I'm feeling confident. Offense, I'm saying it's a chance for them to show their athletic ability, because Army, they're going to play discipline.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're a tune-up game. I'm saying this is going to be a very competitive football game. Defense, I truly believe on this game, going to hold their own. Offense, if we can find our identity, take big shots early, I think our defense can hold them pretty well. The offense is a question mark. So I didn't.
Yeah,
I know I said might have been the wrong words.
I was
there.
just kind of like thinking there, and I'm like, dude, every year I played them was tough. I mean, they're so hard.
disciplined.
You know how hard it is to beat a triple option military academy school, and it is so hard to beat them on a short week too. We do have the advantage of playing at home. And we do have the advantage of having a really good coach who understands the triple option. They've been practicing. You know how it works.
Yeah,
our
all
defense
summer.
has been practicing all summer for the triple option. A lot of these guys have faced it before. So you just got to go in there. One thing that scares me about, you look at Army's schedule and their offense, you're talking about like their offense is really, really good. I'd rather their defense be really, really good, not their offense. A triple option team that's good on offense is scary to play, because all you got to do is catch them in rhythm, dude, and they are tough to stop. Because then you're on the side as an offense, as quarterbacks, watching a triple option team just walk down the field and watch the time just tick, 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 tick. You're like, dude, what do I do?
That is a big thing. If they get their momentum going, they're taking the whole game away from you. Thing is, big thing with triple option teams, one thing about Army, they're smaller than most teams. But they're gritty. They're the Naval Academy,
Discipline.
Army. They're disciplined, and the toughest teams you'll play all year just off toughness wise. But if you play sound defense and you just play your assignments, a lot of times if you have seriously lockdown, people's eyes don't get in the backfield, start chasing. I think we have a defense that can stop that defense.
100%. I mean, I feel really good about it. I'm taking the Pirates. I feel great about.
I don't think they're going to overpower us if
no.
we play sound defense that stays assignment level.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to seem negative at all. Look, I'm still really high on. I think we compete for a conference championship. I think we're going to win at least 8 games. This is a big one, though. This is a big one in a lot of different versions. It's like we said, it was Caiden Hauser's worst game last week. It was probably JDB's worst game calling last week. It was probably a lot of guys' worst game offensively. How do you respond? And how you respond in conference play. Conference play is really when it matters. Now, look, we probably, honestly, I'm not even going to say we probably won't be the G5 school, because whoever wins the American probably is going to be the G5 school. So at the end of the day, we have 2 losses versus really good teams. BYU's really, really good. State's pretty good. And we're a couple plays away from beating State. In the grand scheme of things, let's go rattle off some, but this is a massive one, because on paper, we should beat Army. We're favorites and all of that. It's a short week, though. This is a game that could, if it flipped last year, if you remember, the beginning of the end of Coach Houston was losing that Army game. Now, Army was a different team last year.
They manhandled us last year.
But the game was never a chance. And that's kind of when Caiden came in and started playing well, was that at the end of that game. But if you look back, even just last year, even that's why I just went in my mind, is that game was kind of a turning point in the season, but then there was another turning point when Harrell took over that we started winning games, and we went down the stretch of playing worse teams. But this is a turning point, because the worst case scenario for the Pirates, and I'm going to say the best case because that's what I think is going to happen, but worst case is we go out there offensively and still don't have, we leave that game Thursday and don't have an identity. Even if we win the game, discover your identity. If you don't discover your identity, then going in this conference stretch, it's tough, because our offense should have an identity, and I think we'll find it on Thursday. I really do. I believe in the creativity of JDB. I believe in Caiden Hauser. I believe in Anthony Smith, which we really didn't talk about, who had a couple drops. We believe in these guys, and that's why we're so high on just the team in general, is because we think the offense is what's going to carry us, not hold us back. So yeah, I think we win. I think we cover the spread. I feel great about it. If you think we'll be on best bets, we'll have to see if we post them or not. But I really do think we'll win, and I feel good about it. I think it's a turning point in the season where it's you know what, we learned a lot versus pretty good teams in non-conference play. But now this is the real deal. Let's go win some games.
Yeah. Like every game matters, right?
Yeah.
But now every game matters that much more. And to really see where our postseason's going to go, it starts Thursday. It really does. It starts, can we go win this conference and be competitive with this conference? And how does the offense bounce back off a bad week? I'm excited to see it. I hope it was a fluke. I hope BYU, I know BYU is a good team.
Yeah.
I'm not selling them short, but I know we played bad. Now let's see how good our offense can play and how good they can bounce back. You like good food? Do you like good causes? Then Sam Jones Barbecue is the barbecue for you. That's right, Sam Jones, one of the staples of Eastern North Carolina barbecue and great food, but also they're giving back to Eastern North Carolina with 2 Make-A-Wish wishes they're giving out this year. So how do you do it? How do you help support? When you go to Sam Jones and you take your family out to dinner at Sam Jones, make sure you round up on your order. Each roundup will go directly to 2 Make-A-Wishes that Sam Jones are trying to give back to the Eastern North Carolina community.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's non-conference play. And look, I even got mad at people in the 5th quarter who were calling it. I'll address it real quick. I was getting mad at
like
fans.
your energy.
Yeah, I just don't. There was fans calling in there, and like one guy said, and I ended up talking to him after, and he didn't mean it that way, but it just kind of triggered me a little bit because he said, in some version of, if you would ask any ECU fan at the beginning of the year, anyone would be happy with 2-2. I was like, since when does ECU turn to that weak mindset? Like, since when were we not the giant killers? Not that BYU's even a giant, but like, since when were we not the team to say, want some, get some? You want to play us, we'll play you anywhere, anytime, and we'll give you our best shot. And if you beat us, we'll shake your hand. And if not, we'll pick you up off the ground and tell you better luck next time. Like, that's the mindset of ECU. That's when I was there. That's when we were there.
Yeah.
Even if we lost, like, we went into it. Dude, I remember playing Cincinnati 2019. They were beaten by people by 90. We were trying to flip the program. We should have stood no chance of playing that game. We went in there, we're just saying, all right, screw it. You know what? They come in our house, let's go play them. I think it was a Thursday night game, maybe.
Yeah, it was.
And we should have won the game. It was still a fun night, but I just think ECU fans, like, let's get back to that mindset. And I think the majority are still that mindset. But I was a little triggered by a couple of them. Yeah, 2-2 is fine. We play good schools. Like, heck no. Yeah. Like, let's try to push this thing. Like, and look, I wish I would have won more games. I know someone's going to comment saying that. Like, yeah, when I was there, I had way higher expectations than what we accomplished. Now, it was way harder than I thought it was going to be to accomplish even what we did. But that doesn't mean my expectations weren't out the roof. Like, that's the way it should be. You have so much pride in the school and so much belief. I know you do too.
Yeah. Win or lose, please call the 5th quarter and rattle Holton up again. I actually enjoyed watching you
got passion for the Pirates.
Get hot at people. And was that the same guy that called you Golden Boy? That was pretty good.
I don't know. No.
He said, I love getting Golden Boys and third strings opinion. I love that.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah. What was his name again?
I don't know. I know he didn't play college football.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the game.
I'm
excited to talk to everyone out in the 5th quarter and get their opinions. Hopefully everyone's tough-minded so they don't piss Holton off, but I think we'll be good.
No, I mean, just call in with your opinion, but I'll call it out. I mean, Pirates have an edge about them. I have an edge about me. You have an edge about you. And I don't know. I have a passion about it. And I'm like, you know what? Let's keep the passion. Let's not, like, say, oh, we're happy with this. Like, let's just push for the best. And I know that team in the locker room's pushing for the best right now. I know Blake Harrell's pushing for the best, so why not support that? Push for the best. So, yeah, to the 5th quarter. 4th quarter ends, 5th quarter begins. We'll be there. Clip will be there. It's a good time. We'll have some interesting callers. Hopefully celebrating a W. See you next time.